When I come to your city, I'm a new score. Broke your high score as soon as I step through the door. Tryna stack my paper up like a bookstore. Money kissing each other like a rock and roll tour. When I come to your city, I'm a new score. Broke your high score as soon as I step through the door. Tryna stack my paper up like a bookstore. Money kissing each other like a
Hey, Tyler.
Hey, Piet. Hey, Piet.
Welcome to the New Score podcast. My name is Pat. This is my co-host, TYG, Tyler Pratt. Tyler, how we be doing?
Beautiful. We be doing beautiful. Weather up here sucks. It's that time of the year. It's always gray, gloomy, snowy. We just got hit with snow, actually. I think it was a few days ago. And then again last night. So today was like the first day of actually driving kind of like in the snow, but the plows did a good job. So we were Gucci.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, so everybody can see. Since Michigan beat Ohio State, I have...
That's right. Show that thing off. Jim. Free Jim.
Had my Michigan shirt on. Got to wear it for the whole podcast, and then I get to throw it out. So we got a very special episode, though. We got week 13, Tyler, to go over. Big game, 49ers Eagles. We're going to discuss pretty soon here. We're going to talk some NBA in-season tournament. We're going to talk some stay or fold on some NFL teams, what we think about them going forward. We also are going to give out our NFL playoff predictions, which teams we think are going to get into the postseason. We got our coach of the year. We each have a coach of the year that we would like to award an NFL head coach so far for their performance this season. And then we're going to finish off with a segment with two of our Buffalo Bills guys for a State of the Buffalo Bills segment. They're coming off a bye week. Big game against the Chiefs this week.
Oh, yeah.
Are they going to make the playoffs? Are they not going to make the playoffs? Got a lot of questions for those guys because it's been a minute and a lot has happened since the last time we got to speak with them. So pumped to get into that. But don't forget, if you are on YouTube, to like and subscribe. Follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Get at us on Instagram and Facebook. We appreciate the support. Thank you very much for listening. Tyler, let's hop right into it. Biggest game of the week last week of week 13 was the San Francisco 49ers at the Link, Philadelphia Eagles. Right after we had our questions with a fan segment with the Philadelphia Eagles. If you haven't yet, check that out because that was a phenomenal episode. It was a blast getting to talk to those boys, catching up with them, talking some Eagles. And they had a big game on Sunday, and 49ers came and spanked them. Yeah. 42-19 was the final score in Philly. Jalen Hurts, I believe, got a concussion. I think he's been cleared since, though. Obviously, the Eagles are dealing with a bunch of other injuries as well. Tyler, I want to let you start off. What are your takeaways from that game on Sunday?
Well, I want to start by saying I don't really enjoy watching other NFC East teams lose, but I do really enjoy watching the Eagles take a little spanking. They got spanked by the Niners. The Niners came in and took care of business. So that was the first quarter though, Eagles played well, right? I think it was like the first 3 or 4 drives, they were up 6-0. Niners had a couple punts to start, but then they turned on the Jets, and then they started to steamroll the Eagles. I think not something to overreact to, but it's kind of like we were waiting for that from Philly, though, right? I mean, fucking every game they've had is close, but we kind of assumed like they're due for an L here shortly, especially against a good team. Like, I don't think maybe we expected them to get blown out that bad, but we knew they were due for an L, so that just happened to be it. But hey, if you're going to get blown out by somebody, it's probably going to be San Francisco. So, but hey, that's why we picked them for the Super Bowl. San Fran, they're that team. They can do that to good teams. They can make good teams look bad. When you're looking at the net points, it's they're second in the league. San Fran is, and they're second only to Dallas. And Dallas is really only first because they just took advantage of some really, really bad teams early in the year. But either way, yeah, it was good. It was good to see the Eagles take a big L. So shout out San Fran.
Yeah, to me, like you said, I'm not overreacting at all to this game. We talked about it with Dave and Ryan, and it meant a lot more to the 49ers going in there on Sunday than it meant to the Eagles. They had revenge on their minds. As I said last episode, they were out for blood, so to say. We're talking a whole lot of shit too, so they were ready for that game. And the Eagles are just kind of in a gauntlet right now in their schedule, and now they got to play at Dallas this week, which we're going to get into in our episode in a couple days from now. We'll talk a lot about that game, but it's like they're stuck in a gauntlet right now, and injuries are starting to pile up. And there was a big tackling issue on Sunday. That's what I noticed. I don't know if it's a tired legs thing. I don't know if it's an effort thing. I don't know if it's just San Francisco being more physical than you. I don't know what it is, but there was an issue. And I know they signed Shaq Leonard. So we'll see what happens with that. That was much needed for them because their linebackers are just depleted right now.
Yeah,
and
Shaq Leonard.
Safeties don't look great either. Secondary as a whole, I mean, there's just not much to be, excited for as an Eagles fan when you look at that secondary right now. And it sucks because that D-line is so dominant, They can really get after you. So they need somebody to step up. They really do. Then that unit as a whole needs to step up, and the linebacker unit needs to step up. I know it's kind of like a makeshift room right now, but they got to find a way to do it. They really do, because that defense we're not going to see them make a run like they did last year if the defense is playing like that. And I know it's the 49ers, but my goodness, like some of these plays where like Debo's just breaking it for 60 yards and nobody can get him on the ground. Like, unacceptable to me when you're playing at home and you take pride in being like a physical football team, physical brand, and for them to come into your house and do that to you, it's tough to see. But like Dave and Ryan said, if they were going to lose, they're going to see him again, most likely. And if they were to lose one of the matchups, they would want it to be that game. And who knows, maybe the Eagles are better from it. They probably will be because they got humbled. And like I said, we'll see what happens with Shaq Leonard. Hopefully Lane Johnson starts to get healthy here. They're going to get Goddard back. So that's going to be big for them. We haven't seen the end of the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not overreacting. As I said, I do have some concerns with that defense. But to me, Tyler, they were up 6-0 in the first quarter. And by the way, 49ers went 4 for 4 in the red zone with touchdowns. Eagles ended up 2 for 4. So that was something I took away from it. And another thing I took away from the Eagles is they just didn't want to run. They didn't even want to try to run the ball. Like, it's not like they were down big early in this game and they decided just not establish the run. I know Swift's been banged up a bit, but I believe he finished with 7 carries for 20 yards, I think is what I read. And Hurts ended up being their leading rusher. And it's like, I think Johnson is their OC now. I just think sometimes the play calling in Philly is like, it's kind of that, like how it was in Buffalo when it's like, all right, Jalen, or in Buffalo, all right, Josh, like go save us, but play hero ball. I feel like there's way too much of that at times when bro, you have that offensive line, like utilize that offensive line. Like you could just mow teams down. You could just bully football teams, just pound the rock, and you got away from the run completely in that game. And San Francisco did what they did on offense, and Jalen ended up having to throw the ball 45 times. So not a winning recipe, especially against a team like the Niners with that pass rush coming after you. But as we talked about, we expect these two teams to play again. We'll get into our Eagles Cowboys preview later on this week. So I don't want to give away too much going into that game. And then San Fran plays the Seahawks again this week after just playing them on Thanksgiving. So Niners are getting hot at the right time right now. Eagles, hopefully they can, figure out with these injuries, everything they got going on. Hopefully they start getting these guys back. And then the secondary, they gotta play better. But that's it for that game. Tyler, let's talk about some NBA. We got the in-season tournament going on right now. We are now in the semifinals in Vegas. We got the Lakers against the Pelicans. The Lakers beat the Suns last night by 3, and then the Pelicans beat the Kings 2 nights ago. And then on the other side, we got the Milwaukee Bucks and Indiana Pacers. Milwaukee Bucks crushed the Knicks last night. I watched that game. And then a couple nights ago, Indiana beat Boston. If I'm not mistaken, Indiana hasn't lost the entire in-season play. They haven't lost yet. So we got Bucks Pacers, and then, as I said, Lakers Pelicans. Going to get it going here soon, I believe. Tomorrow is when that starts up, the semis. So, Tyler, before I go, what are your thoughts all around on this in-season tournament? What are you taking away from it? Have you been satisfied with it? And what are your thoughts on the teams that are left?
I've had a chance to watch highlights. Really, I haven't been able to catch many of the games other than the Knicks Bucks. I saw New York getting blown out, so I didn't pay too much attention to that. I was in bed by the time the Lakers game started, and I didn't catch the Pacers game the other night either. But I did see Buddy Hield throw up that 3 at the buzzer, and they were already up like 6 or 7. So that was a little fuck you to Boston, which was sweet. I don't know. They're playing though. You know what I mean? These guys, like, they're playing. I mean, I wish I would have loved to see what fucking Luka played like if they were good enough to be in this little tournament, but or if they won enough, but they didn't. But these guys are out here trying, like, playoff atmosphere basketball. You know what I mean? So it's got it. I think it's good for the league, good for these guys. Why not? And who knows? This is only the first year. They can alter this thing and make it even better going forward. But I do have one pretty important question, and that is, what's the winner getting again? I forget.
A bunch of money.
Just a bunch of money
and a trophy. Yeah, a bunch of money and a trophy.
All right, then money's enough.
And they get to hang out in Vegas for a few days, so that's fun.
Okay. Yeah, fuck it. But yeah, it's good, man. I like to see these guys just give an effort. So
yeah,
that's good. I like it.
Same here. I mean, we're in early December right now. Usually basketball doesn't mean shit until Christmas. So the fact that we got some, competitiveness in the NBA right now, this time of season, is great, in my opinion. I was a big critic. On this podcast, I said it. I was like, this is bullshit. Like, the fact that the NBA has to do this, just to get guys to play, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, now that they're actually playing, like, I'm enjoying that. So no complaints from me, except for the courts, dude. The courts are fucking hideous. I don't know what the hell's going on with that.
What the fuck is up with these courts, dude?
They're trying too much, man. I don't know what is going on, who they let design that thing or those things, but it's not pretty. But that's my only complaint as far as the in-season tournament. I think it's been pretty awesome to watch some competitive NBA action on some of these nights where, there's not much else going on. It's good to be able to throw that on. The Pelicans, dude, it feels like they're finally starting to really come together with Zion. Like, please stay healthy so we can continue to see this. But it's like we've seen flashes of this with him and that team. But it's just good to see, like, to this point in the season, them playing the way they have been. And then also, how about the Indiana Pacers, dude? Like, this team,
How about
they
them?
give out every game they play. It's like, take the over. If it's a Pacers game, take the over, because it's like that every night. But
Shout out Rick.
Halliburton's a dude that I've always really liked in the league. He's been very underrated, and he had a triple-double, like 28 points against Boston the other night. Just went off, as he usually does, and really cool to see that team play like this, because I know they're a young team. But let's hop into some NFL, Tyler, for a segment that we like to call Stay or Fold.
Should you stay or should you go?
Stay or fold, Tyler. I want to start out with the 6-6 Cincinnati Bengals with Jake Browning after that masterful performance we saw on Monday night in Duval. They upset the Jags as 10-point dogs, and they just put it on them. That offense absolutely put it on them. Jamar Chase lit them up. And it looks like, hey, there might be something to this team going forward after pulling off a win like that. And you see a quarterback play as good as he did. I think he ended up with like 28 for 32, with like 350 or something. Just absolutely insane. But stay or fold, Tyler, the Cincinnati Bengals with Jake Browning.
Folding. In that case, I am folding. I just don't see. I don't see them. I mean, even if they get to 9 wins, which would be, I think, a little bit of a surprise, they got too much in their way. So I'll fold on them as a team. Stay with Jake, though. He's a dog.
Yeah, awesome to see Jake Browning put on that performance. Totally unexpected. Totally expected to watch a boring-ass game on Monday night, and it was anything but that. So shout out to him. But for me, this is more of what the fuck was Jacksonville doing defensively in that game? I don't understand what their game plan was, what the philosophy was. Jamar Chase, you can't give up $150 to Jamar Chase. They gave up that deep ball where he's one-on-one, and Browning throws it perfect over the shoulder to him on a go route. You can't let that guy take over that game. Like, that's the dude you got to worry about. They don't even have Burrow. Like, and you lose that game at home when you had a chance to solidify your spot in that 1 seed spot, and you lose that game to a backup quarterback. I know Lawrence got hurt, and that kind of deflated you, but why was it even a game at that point when Lawrence got hurt? You know what I mean? Right. And that's another thing, Tyler. How the hell does somebody's franchise quarterback, how much money is that guy making a year? They couldn't even get a cart, anything, to get him to the locker room, bro. He's just there like hobbling, and they got a cop next to him, like helping him get to the locker room. You know how much like the value on that dude, and you can't get him a ride to the locker room when he can't walk? I just thought that was like, I like the Jags, but that's something, when you see something like that, that has like poverty franchise written all over it. When you see something like that,
big turnoff.
Yeah, that's not a good look at all. But anyways, to me, and I thought Jacksonville offense, I mean, they were doing what they wanted for a good part of that game. So it sucks seeing Lawrence go down. You never want to see that. It is a high ankle. They're even talking about maybe he'll be back this week. But I mean, Mahomes won a Super Bowl on bad high ankle sprain too. So it is something these guys could play with. It's just, battling that pain. And I don't think you're nearly as flexible. So Lawrence does like to use his legs. So we're really going to see, maybe he should take a week off, and rest it up some. But my thoughts, Tyler, I'm folding on the Bengals because my issue is more with what Jacksonville had, and they didn't want to take Jamar Chase away, and it made them pay. But going forward, teams aren't going to let that happen. And right now the Bengals have the Chiefs, the Browns, the Steelers, the Colts, and then the Vikings. So not a great schedule to finish off for the Bengals, for them to make, really a serious run at anything. Moving on, Tyler, the 7-5 Cleveland Browns, staying or folding Joe Flacco at quarterback for the Browns?
Stay. Big time stay. This dude comes off the street. I think he had a week or two to come in and learn the playbook and all that. So, but I mean, essentially coming off the street, off the couch, this guy hasn't been doing anything all year, all off season. And by that, I mean, like, he wasn't on a team and then got cut. Like, he just straight up wasn't with any organization. I thought he played pretty well. I mean, it's Flacco. The dude, he makes some of these throws in his sleep. I was talking to CJ. I was like, bro, as long as Flacco just doesn't turn the ball over, they have a good shot in this game. And then I think he threw that pick like midway or late in the fourth quarter that pretty much shot their chances.
Johnson.
Yeah, it was a good game. Like, how about the guts of Puka, by the way? Tough.
Yeah, he's a tough son of a bitch.
He is a tough SOB. But yeah, I'm staying with Joey boy. Joey bag of donuts.
That was a real admirable performance by Joe Flacco last week. And I think that the Jets certainly could have used that this year. But I am folding on Flacco right now, and that's assuming DTR is healthy. Because I think DTR, he's got the ability to add another dimension to your offense. Like, I know you're not getting the deep ball like you would with Flacco, but at least he's versatile. He can move around, and that's something that Stefanski can scheme up well. So I like what DTR can bring to that offense, and they can win games, just by controlling the ball. They don't have to take these deep shots and risk these turnovers. If they just take care of the ball, run the football, and then get DTR going in the RPO game, get them in the spread, and Ford and Hunt in the backfield have looked good for them as well. So I'm going to fold on Flacco, although I did think he played some good football last week against the Rams. I just think that in this situation, I would stick with the rookie DTR to give me that extra, weapon, so to say. But are the Browns going to make the playoffs? We'll get to that in a little bit with our predictions. Moving on to another AFC North team. We're just ripping through these AFC North teams right now. And that's the 7-5 Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is a whole. I mean, Kenny, high ankle sprain. Unlike Lawrence, he does get surgery. So he's going to be out for an extended amount of time regardless. They're saying he might come back last week against the Ravens. Tyler, are you staying or folding on this 7-5 Pittsburgh Steelers team this season with Mitchell Trubisky?
Fold. I do. I mean, they were already borderline stay or fold with Kenny Pickett. If Kenny was there, I'm staying. Mitch Trubisky, I'm folding. And you know what? It also has more to do with how deep the AFC playoff race is right now. So if the Steelers were in the NFC and they didn't have that tough of a schedule remaining, sure, I'd probably stay on them even with Mitch, but they're not. They're in the AFC and they don't have a real favorable schedule, I don't think, down the stretch. So I'm going to fold on Pitt. Spurg.
Yeah, I am folding as well, Tyler. And hey, if they were in the NFC, we might be having a different conversation right now. But them being in the AFC, I just don't see a road for the Steelers to get in the playoffs. Their offense didn't look good with their starting quarterback. So do I expect them now to magically play better with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback? No, not a chance. So I'm folding on Pittsburgh as well. Moving on to, we're going to finish this off with a couple of NFC teams, Tyler, and that is first. Let's talk about the 6-6 Green Bay Packers on a 3-game winning streak right now. They win in Detroit on Thanksgiving, and then they win Sunday night at home against the defending world champion Kansas City Chiefs. If you want to talk about that awful, god-awful no call, the PI call late in that game, that was something that went into it. But either way, we're talking about the Packers right now. 3-game win streak. Are you staying or folding on the Green Bay Packers this season?
How about them Chiefs? I am staying on the Packers. I'm staying on them. I think LaFleur has found something with Jordy. So, yeah, staying on them. I like it. I mean, their schedule too. They're what, one game? What are they, game back? Maybe. Let's see. They're 500. They're going to be in the thick of it for the wild card race. Like they're getting one of those 3 spots. I'll put money on it. You know what's funny? I almost put money on them to make it a couple weeks ago, and then put money on the Colts to not make it. So I think I would have, I don't know, definitely at least lost one of those.
Right.
But I didn't. But either way, I'm staying on the Packers. Staying on them.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with those Colts. But I am staying as well. Not only do the Green Bay Packers look like a different team right now than what they did earlier in the season, but Tyler, they got the easiest schedule in the NFL.
I'm sorry, Pat. Did you say easiest?
The easiest schedule. They play Minnesota. It's their toughest game. And then they play Carolina, Chicago, the Giants, and the Bucks. After just beating Detroit and Kansas City, I like the Packers' chances. I'm staying with Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers right now. This offense is fun to watch all of a sudden these last couple of weeks.
Without AJ.
Talked a lot of shit about them earlier in the year because they were just unwatchable, but it's a totally different offense right now. I loved that clip from last week's episode of you talking about Jordan Love, where he just keeps continuing to gain confidence. And he really does. Every week, it seems like he's more comfortable out there and he's playing better. He's incorporating better chemistry with these young receivers week to week. Watson finally looks back fully healthy. He's balling right now. They don't even have the run game, really, obviously, with Aaron Jones out. So for them to be doing what they're doing on offense with Jordan Love like out there leading them, pretty cool to see. After if we were to make our decision, say like after the first 5 weeks, if we were like, all right, you have to decide right now, do you keep him or let him go? I'm pretty sure we both would have let him go then. So for him to turn this around and play the way he's been playing lately, like I said, it's awesome to see. He continues to grow confidence. Confidence is contagious. When he gets confidence, the whole team gets confidence, and they're balling right now. So I like the Green Bay Packers' chances as well. I'm staying on them. Finishing off, stay or fold. Let's talk about the 6-6 Los Angeles Rams, Tyler. Also on a 3-game win streak. Pull off that win against Cleveland. I mean, obviously, I got a lot to say about my Rams, but are you staying or folding?
Staying. I'm staying on them Rammies. I do want to point out, I think we did do a stay or fold on Jordan Love a few weeks ago. Yeah. So I think we said stay.
Oh,
I think we said stay. Yeah. So I'm
glad
right
before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't look like a couple of dummies, but either way, staying on the Rams. When we were talking,
literally right before he went on this little streak is when we did it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Sorry, they could end up with fucking 10 wins. You would have never thought it. They could end up with 10 wins. They're on a 3-game win streak right now. 4 out of the next 5 could happen the way they're playing. Either way, though, on the Rams, I think we did do a segment early in the year when we had Todd on, and we talked about teams that could play spoiler down the stretch. And I think I picked the Rams because I didn't think they would have a shot the way Seattle was playing early in the year. And then with San Fran in there, and a couple of the teams, I was like, I don't know. I don't think they'll have a shot at the playoffs. But dude, they turn it around. You know what I mean? Like that, even that defense, they didn't really make any key additions at the trade deadline. They just fucking good coaching. Shout out to McVay and Stafford. You know Stafford, that's my secret favorite quarterback. He's I can't say that, you know, on record. But because you know Dak's my boy. But no, I love Stafford, man. He's a fucking dog, dude. Just watching him play. I think you said something about it last episode, just like a generational talent, dude. The guy's so fun to watch, just the way that he plays the quarterback position, dude. It's fun to watch. So who they got left though? They got two tough games. Yeah, they got 2 tough games. But they got 3 very winnable games. So it was like, yeah, I think if you can get to 9 wins, like you said, I think if you can get to 9 wins, you're in the NFC. So I don't know. I'm staying with them though. I'm sticking with them.
Yeah, you stole the words right out of my mouth with that. I think 9 wins, you're in the NFC. I think we do play the Niners and Ravens, which is going to be tough. We know what Lamar does to NFC teams, and last time we played him was not pretty. I remember that. Actually, the last time we played him, it was Tyler Huntley, and then the time before that, Lamar lit us up. So we know what Lamar does to NFC teams, and then obviously, yeah, we got to play the Niners, who we don't fare well with against. Tough matchup for us. So 2 tough games, but then 3 very winnable games. I am also staying on my LA Rams, which is something I would have never thought I'd be saying earlier in the year. It just looked like a lost cause out there. And then when Stafford gets hurt, it's like, well, now you know you have no shot. So, but I mean, he looks healthy enough right now. He's unbelievable. Like you said, like generational talent. The ability is off the charts what that guy can do on a football field, just slinging it. Like that one throw he had to Puka across the middle of the field. He had like that big of a window to get it in, and he just throws a dart, and it's in the perfect spot. So Puka just catches it and takes off with it, and it's
doesn't even break stride. Just
exactly when you see throws like that, you know, like fuck, man, he's still got it. He does, and the defense has been playing better. And like people want to say that Aaron Donald is not in his prime anymore. I mean, I would agree that he's not in the same level he was maybe when we won the Super Bowl. I mean, because I guess that happens at the end of your career, but he's still out there, a fucking dominant player. You're not watching the Rams if you don't think that, because I saw what he did on Sunday against arguably the best O-line in the league, and that Cleveland offensive line. Like I saw him throwing Bitonio around, and Bitonio's an all-pro offensive lineman, and Donald is out there, and he looks way smaller than him too. So, guy's a freak. He's been doing it forever. I mean, there's not enough you could say about that guy. And the defense as a whole, I like how the secondary, who's so young, has come together. Raheem Morris done a great job with that group, and then, like you said, McVay. All the credit in the world to him. He wasn't letting this team tank this year. Everybody else in the media, fans, myself even, I was like, there's no way we can go out there and, you know, actually have a shot at the playoffs with this roster. And for us to be at 6-6 right now with, I mean, a chance, like for us to even be talking about this going into, you know, week 14, for us to even be discussing the possibility of the Rams getting the playoffs is pretty amazing to me, because I was thinking top 5 pick this year. And it's like, look at what we're doing in LA, okay, with our roster, and look at the LA Chargers. Look at their record and what they've done this year with the roster that they have. Like that's we preach on this podcast all the time, the like importance of establishing a culture and how important coaching is, and like culture, and just like look at that perfect example, those two teams that play in the same exact building. Look at the difference in talent, you know what I mean, from top to bottom, and then the product you see on the field and how the teams execute. The Chargers fucking escaped New England, dude. They couldn't even score a touchdown. Like, it's we're not even going to get into them this episode because I'm exhausted talking about them. But yeah, man, I'm staying on the LA Rams. I think 9 wins will get you in. I think we get to 9. So, and the Seahawks, I'm not bringing them up. They just look like they're falling off. They did look good against the Cowboys in like a game that they really needed, but tough schedule for them going down the stretch, and I think we get in over them. So, staying.
Yeah.
Let's move on though to our Coach of the Year, Tyler. If we had to award an NFL Coach of the Year right now, who are you giving it to?
DeMeco Ryans. I mean, what a job he did. First-year quarterback with a team that obviously I don't think anyone gave a shot to even be in the conversation. And here they are. You got your rookie quarterback as an MVP candidate. Only the haters will say no. Yeah, they just look like a good football team. I mean, we talked about their roster going into the season, and we liked a lot of the pieces they had. I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot of what they have defensively other than Stingley.
Been balling.
And
Will Anderson, dude.
Will Anderson, of course, and then my boy Malik Collins. They got out there D tackle. I don't really know much of what they have.
Petre, the safety,
but
nice.
Yeah, they got those boys playing out there. They got them playing offensively. Obviously, I love Nico. They bring in Robert Woods, who we're both a fan of. I mean, he's just kind of one of those true professionals. Bobby Trees. He's one of those true professionals, bro. He goes, no matter where he goes, you can rely on him to get the job done. The toughest part for him is just staying healthy, but he's just a good vet to have on that team. So you got those guys. Obviously, Tank Dell, that's tough as fuck. I feel terrible for him. I think it's a big hit to the team, to be honest with you. The production that he's had for them, like someone's got to pick that up. And maybe it's Mechie, right? Mechie, he's got a shot. Like he's there. He's like Mechie's there. He's dressed. He's playing every week. He's just not. He hasn't really been. His name hasn't been called. He hasn't made any plays. Noah Brown as well. Those guys are going to have to step up and Robert Woods included. He's going to have to step up as well. Nico's obviously he's been doing it. Schultz, he's been hurt. He's coming back though. Their running backs, Pierce is back. He's healthy. Singletary's a good too. They obviously have a good offensive line, and it all starts at the quarterback position. And like I said, dude, Stroud's in that MVP race. So, but I say it all starts with Stroud. That's not true. It all starts with the head coach, DeMeco Ryans, which is what we're really talking about here. He's just done it. He's done a fantastic job with this team. I didn't give him a shot. I didn't think they'd win more than 5 games, but that also plays into my bias for Ohio State quarterbacks coming out. So CJ Stroud's kind of broke that mold. So you can thank him for that, Pat, because I would have held on to that forever. I would have been talking about Ohio State quarterbacks in the NFL for 20 more years if it weren't for CJ Stroud. So, yeah, no, DeMeco Ryans, though, that's my coach of the year so far.
Speaking of Ohio State quarterbacks, you see Kyle McCord's entering the transfer portal?
No, why? How do you go from being the starting quarterback of a team like Ohio State and then enter the transfer? Like I get the Joe Burrow situation. That was understandable, right? You're not playing Jalen Hurts. You got benched for Tua, transfer. Like I get those, and I don't even know if the transfer portal was a thing back then, but he still transferred.
Yeah.
But I don't get that. Why would he transfer?
He might be getting run out of town, honestly. I haven't looked too much into it. I just found it out today. I don't know if it's like that's what I'm saying. That's the pressure, though. Like Ryan Day, there's been rumors about him potentially going to the NFL. I don't know. And it's all from losing. It's all from this. It's all from just losing that one game. All hell breaks loose. But it's like with the portal, I don't want to get off topic too much, but I just want to say with the portal, it gives the Ohio State the ability to bring in whoever they want. Like if they want a quarterback that's going to enter the portal, they're likely going to get that guy. So talking about the Texans, about your pick, yeah, to be at 7-5 right now after the disarray that organization was in with everything with Deshaun Watson, the way he left them and everything, for them to be where they're at right now and to be that team that you're excited to watch on Sundays is pretty special and something nobody would have predicted, before the season started. It's just been awesome to watch. CJ Stroud, some of these throws that he's making out there, I'm like befuddled is like the word, because some of these like sideline throws he's making where he has to get it out quick and there's like a safety coming in and then a corner underneath and he's got to like get it into that window in between guys. And he just some guys in the NFL, you can really see it come off their arm. You're like, okay, yeah, that guy's different. Some guys you see like they'll throw a pass and it'll kind of be like, it'll get to the receiver like that. And some guys you see it throw it and then it's just like a fucking dart, like Stafford, who we were just talking about. When the ball leaves his hand, you can just see it. You're like, yeah, that guy's got it. And you see it with Stroud. Like some of these throws he's making out there, you're like, God damn. Like being an Ohio State fan, watching him in college, I never thought that he would look like this in the NFL after how he looked at Ohio State, which was, he had a great career there. But I wasn't like, yeah, this guy's going to be, rookie of the year, potential MVP candidate. What he's done out there, and you talk about MVP, like Tank Dell going down sucks because he's a great weapon for that team. But being MVP is, raising everybody around you, regardless of who's out there. And they got enough weapons besides Tank Dell. Like I said, it does suck. He's a nice deep threat to have, but Nico can beat you deep too. And you got all these other weapons on that offense and a great coordinator. Bobby Slowick is his name. He's from Shanahan Tree, and that dude, he knows how to call offense. He'll be up for a head coaching gig here soon.
Of course.
So awesome to see what DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud have done there. I texted you and I texted Todd talking about them. I was like, is this the greatest draft class for a team? Is this going to be like the greatest draft class ever in history? Like you get Stroud and you get Will Anderson. We haven't even talked about Will Anderson. He looks phenomenal. Like these last couple of games, he is a difference maker, game changer on that defense for Houston. Yeah. So you got those two guys, and then you also drafted, like I said, Tank Dell. So pretty crazy to see this production out of Houston. Got all respect in the world for that pick for DeMeco Ryans. But my coach of the year, Tyler, is to another rookie head coach who drafted a rookie quarterback in that same AFC South division, and that is Shane Steichen of the Indianapolis Colts, who are now sitting at 7-5. What this dude has done to this team that was laughing stock of the league next to, like, they weren't quite Denver status, but they were that next level. Like they signed Matt Ryan, brought him in, paid him a bunch of money, and then it doesn't work out. They fire Frank Reich midway through the season. They hired Jeff Saturday off a TV set, bring him in. And it was just an absolute shit show in Indy last year. Oh, I didn't even mention the gambling that went on last year with the Colts too. They got guys gambling in the facility, like guys that aren't even allowed to play football anymore. Like that was what the culture was in Indy last year. That's what they were dealing with, just a complete losing culture. Steichen comes in, and right off the bat, their best player, Jonathan Taylor, doesn't want to be there. So that dude's never been a head coach before. They draft a rookie quarterback in Anthony Richardson. And it's him coming into monitor a situation where the best player on the team doesn't want to be there. He's at the facility or he's on the sideline with his hood up, doesn't want to talk to anybody, and he's just a distraction, honestly. And he wants to get traded. Like, he's dealing with all that bullshit. You know how easy it would be for like a first-year head coach to like just fuck that situation up completely. And the fact that he got these guys to come together as a unit. Zach Moss is out there balling when Jonathan Taylor wasn't early in the season. They're winning games.
Yep.
Anthony Richardson looks like a real problem. Steichen really had that offense going with Anthony Richardson. It's a shame he gets hurt, but that just adds to the fire of him getting coach of the year, and the fact that he loses his quarterback. D'Amico Ryan still has his quarterback that he drafted. He loses his quarterback in Anthony Richardson, and they have to call on Gardner Minshew, who's been a journey. Love Gardner Minshew, love him, but he's been a journeyman, and he's finding ways to win games with this team, and it's just crazy because of how bad that team looked last year. For them to be in this spot right now at 7-5 with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. They don't even have Shaq Leonard. They were just like, all right, we'll see you, because he's not getting playing time because they got these other guys stepping up. Zaire Franklin, shout out to Cuse. This dude's an animal.
Yeah.
He used to be just a special teams player, and then Shaq Leonard goes down. He steps in, takes his job from him, and Shaq Leonard's gone. Like, guys stepping up for Indy to be where they're at right now, you know, in this position to really have a chance to get in the playoffs. Hats off to Shane Steichen. I knew he was a great OC with the Eagles and what he did with Jalen Hurts, obviously. We know the guy's offensive mastermind, but that's only one part of it, right? When you accept the role as being a head coach, now it's about, you know, establishing that culture, and you have to establish these relationships with the entire team, the entire front office. Like, you are the cover to that organization. Like, it's not just calling plays anymore. I think what Shane Steichen has done in his first year in Indy has been masterful. Whether they get in the playoffs or not, hats off to them. Let's get on to these NFL predictions, and then we'll get into this Buffalo Bills segment. Tyler, who are your 4 division winners from the AFC and 3 wildcard teams? We'll start with the AFC first.
All right, start with the East. Dolphins, they've got a 3-game lead. Bills have a tough schedule, not catching them. Ravens, 2-game lead. Every team behind them is banged up. They're not going to get caught. The South is interesting. I mean, I'll start, I guess, the West, the Chiefs. No one's catching the Chiefs. So the South is really the only, like, real interesting division race. I think the wild card race is going to be real crazy. But as far as the division race goes, I'm gonna, for the South, I'm gonna go with Jacksonville, just because Trevor's gonna stick it out. But that's the thing; like, their next 2 games are tough. I don't know if it's worth it to bring them back right away, because these next 2 games are already going to be tough with him playing. I think they've got Browns, Ravens, so we're talking about 2 of the top 5 defenses in the league, and you're going to make a guy with a high ankle sprain and some shaky knees.
Physical.
Right. So it's like, I don't know. They might be better off just letting Trevor rest the next couple weeks. And is it Beathard? Is Beathard still their backup? Yeah. So Jaguars, I'm going to have to go with them. I'm going to have to go with them, even if they let Trevor rest the next 2 weeks, which I think they should. Yeah, I'm going
Who are your wild cards?
Yeah. Wild cards. I am going to go with Houston as 1. I'm probably going to go Houston, Indy, Cleveland. Houston, Indy, Cleveland. The tough one for me is leaving Denver out. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to get in. I don't think Buffalo, with their tough schedule, is going to get. I think you got to get to 10 wins. I don't know if Buffalo's going to get to 10. I think Cleveland does. I think Colts do, and I think the Texans do. It was between the Colts and the Broncos. Those were the 2, and then the Bills have a shot. I mean, the Bills have been playing better football, so I think a lot of people have given up on them. They still have a shot. The way that they're playing, they still have a shot. Their defense has to figure it the fuck out, but they've got a shot. So, but yeah. So those are the 3, though: Browns, Colts, Texans, wild cards.
All right. My AFC East, yeah, nobody's catching Miami, obviously. Ravens, Chiefs out west. I'm picking the Houston Texans to win the AFC South. I think part of it has to do with Lawrence's injury right now. Another part is how that defense has looked. And I think Houston's defense is really starting to play better as well. I still like the Jags to get in as a wild card. They're going to get in as a wild card. So Houston's going to win the division. Jags wild card. My other wild card teams, I really like what Denver has down the stretch. Denver's only playing Detroit. I think Denver can get 4 out of the next 5 to get to 10 wins. So I'm going to have Jacksonville, Denver, and then I just want to – it was tough as hell to come up with my wild card teams for the AFC. I'll tell you that because you look and it's just
it's tough.
It's a big mesh of, damn, you don't know what's going to happen. That third and final spot is tough, but I am going to pick the Buffalo Bills to do it, Tyler. I think they can do it.
Ooh. They
I
can.
think they can do it. I think they have to. They have to win 4 out of the next 5, right?
Yeah.
And I think they have a good chance this week. I know the Chiefs are coming off a loss. I know the Chiefs are at home. I like the Bills this week. I really do. And it's part of the Chiefs offense just not looking like the Chiefs offense with those receivers. I know they got fucked on a late PI call, but the Bills are also coming off a bye week, and that team's hungry right now after that tough loss against Philly. I think if the Bills win 4 or 5, that they're in, and I think they can do it. They do got to play Miami and Dallas as well. I think you can't lose 2 games. You can't lose 2 games. I think they can manage that. I think their potential as a team is much greater than the majority of these other teams on the bubble that you see. And that's why I am picking them to get in potentially as a 7th seed. And who wants to see them as a 7th seed? You know what I mean? That's not going to be fun for a 2
Nobody.
seed.
Yeah, nobody wants to see them as a 7. But can I point out, and I know this is kind of like a big what if, but imagine, what if Rodgers never went down, Burrow never went down, Deshaun Watson never went down, and even at this point, just because it is more relevant, Kenny Pickett. But
Richardson.
Especially those Anthony Richardson too, like, you know, just imagine how, like, this is already going to be a crazy race down the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. But imagine if those guys never got hurt. Like, it would be insane. It'd be one of the crazier playoff, like, stretches down the end of the regular season that we would have seen in some time. I mean, it's going to be crazy, but if those guys didn't get hurt, it'd be insane.
It would. Tyler, let's run through NFC real quick. Who you got as your division winners and wild card?
Let's see. NFC, really there was only one. Well, there's 2 divisions for debate. I'll start with the East. I think it's going to be the Eagles, just because they already have the one up on Dallas. Dallas has, I think, the 2nd toughest schedule to finish the season. And Philly's conference record at the moment is 6-1. Dallas is 6-3. So they're already two games back in the conference record discussion. So I think push comes to shove, Philly gets in. I have Detroit for the North, the West 49ers, and then the South, I am going with the Falcons to win the South. I just don't. I definitely am sick of watching the Buccaneers just waste Mike Evans away. I mean, don't get me wrong. He got a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. So, dude, shout out to Mike Evans, though. What was it, 10 straight seasons of 1,000 yards?
He's still balling.
He's still balling. He's still balling. I don't trust Baker to turn it around. I know they're only a game back, right? Same with the Saints. The Saints are only a game back. I think I think the reason I'm really going with the Falcons is that out of the rest of the teams, right? They control their own destiny. They have the 1-game lead. It's not a huge lead, but they have the 1-game lead, and then they play out of their next 5. I know they play at least 3 division games. They definitely have the Bucks, Saints, and Panthers all left. So if they can just win those 3, they're in. If they can get to 9 wins, they're in. They just need to win 3 out of the next 5. So, anyways, those are my 3 division winners. Wild card is Dallas, Green Bay, and LA, baby. Yeah, baby, yeah.
So yeah, mine. I got the same: Eagles, Lions, Falcons by default, Niners, and then Cowboys, Packers, Rams is my wild card. So
Yeah,
that is something we do agree on, but we'll see what happens with that. Let's get to a segment for the state of the Buffalo Bills coming up next. Joining us now are 2 Buffalo Bills diehard fans that we love to have on the podcast. Welcome back, Justin. Welcome back, Sean. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, boys.
Absolutely.
What's going on, fellas?
We're going to do a state of the Buffalo Bills segment because it's been some weeks since we talked to you guys last, and a lot has happened since then. So we're just checking up on you guys, something I wanted to do. I feel like this is a good point right now, coming off the bye week with a big game coming up at Arrowhead this weekend. So let's start it off with last time Tyler and I spoke to the both of you. You both had a lot of complaints about where the offense was at with Ken Dorsey, obviously. Now he's fired. What have you seen differently from the offense these last couple of weeks? Justin, go ahead.
It's, finishing the play. There's still the drops out there, but just forget which game it was. Just right out of the gates, right through Gabe's hand, interception, throws the drive off, turns the game around just like that. Kincaid had one. It looks more, it doesn't look forced. We know we got to run the ball to be balanced. So let's do it on first and second down. When they would do it, it didn't seem like they really wanted to and thought they could accomplish it. Now it just seems to maybe a different voice in the room is what they needed. Honestly, it doesn't seem a lot different. I didn't have the biggest issue with Dorsey in the world. So, midseason, you're really not going to flip your playbook on its head. But I didn't think the offense was really that bad of an issue all season. It's just inopportune turnovers, kill drives, and mistakes pile. But it looks more fluid. It looks a little more crisp, I'd say. And I'm happy with it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely, like I said, I think what was the week before we played Denver, I was like, we lose this week, we got to fire Dorsey. And I think I said fire fucking McDermott too, but whatever. I like McDermott for what the culture change he's brought and all that. We might have let Dorsey go later than we should have. Who knows? Maybe we'd have another win or 2 under the belt. I like the offense right now. I definitely feel like the offense had become pretty stagnant, and obviously the turnovers are a big deal, and everyone loves to fucking shit on Josh for throwing interceptions but a lot of those interceptions are off tipped balls or right through receivers' hands. Obviously that accounts for a lot of it, but no, I don't know. I think the past 2 weeks, I think the offense looks a lot better compared to when Dorsey was calling the plays. I don't know if it's just the guys are happier with the plays being called, or they're happy he's gone, because obviously there was whatever they had, the players only meeting that I want to say the week before the Denver game, and obviously the guys in the locker room weren't happy. Seemingly, obviously we didn't get the result we wanted against the Eagles, but it seems like the offense has definitely got something going that they didn't have a few weeks prior. So I feel like the run game is still, I don't know, man. I don't know if I don't know if it's just me, but James Cook looks like shit running the football the way we try to run them. And then you got guys like Ty Johnson coming off the practice squad, or Latavius Murray, and they come in and they run those same plays, but they make it work. I don't know. I don't think we use Cook the right way. But then
I think
even when we
that's it.
do, I don't think we use him the right way at all. But even when we do, if the wheel route we hit him on should have been first touchdown of the game, dropped it. So it's not like he's not getting the opportunities, or we're not using him right at all. Because I think that play is what you brought him in for. You drafted him to do that, and I mean, to drop that ball, that could have been the difference in the game. It would have been good at momentum for us. But yeah, that's how I feel right now.
Yeah, to your point, I think there has been a complete different like just style out there on offense these last couple weeks, and it's something I noticed the game immediately when Joe Brady was calling plays, whether it was him saying something to Josh or whether it was Josh looking in the mirror and just being like, all right, I have to take better care of football. I have to start taking what is given to me for what the defense gives me. I think it was unbelievable just watching him, like the discipline that Josh had right away. You could see it. Like he was getting the ball out of his hands quick. He was getting the ball like in the flat, these short routes, and letting receivers do all the work. Like it was like for the first time this season, it's like the Bills offense was playing with like a rhythm. Like there was a real rhythm to the offense instead of, all right, let's just go out there and call plays. Like it felt like everything was getting schemed up for other plays that were later going to be called. I think the run game has looked a lot better since Brady's been in there. I think James Cook had like over 100 yards, I think, a couple weeks ago. I think James Cook looks good out there. But like you said, they do have these other guys like Ty Johnson and Latavius who also look good. I think the Bills' offense as a whole right now is really humming. It's just about like what Pitch said. It's about like those little things, like executing, like like those turnovers and the drops. Like those will kill you. You can have top 5 numbers across the board as an offense in the NFL and still lose football games because your offense like not taking care of the football. And I feel like that's something that we've seen continuously with them. But I agree. I think the offense, you could tell there's a difference out there. It's like they're okay with taking those, 5 to 7 yard gains and just moving the ball downfield. Just move the chains down the field. Like you don't need the splash plays always. The splash plays will come. Like a couple weeks ago, the game I'm referring to, when they're taking what's given to them, you see later in the game that I think it was the Jets. You see later in the game, the Jets defense, they're playing up. And then you get that splash play downfield to Shakir because it's like, man, that's what you do. You take what they give you. And then when you have the opportunity to beat a team over the top, that's when you do it. But I think it's fun to see what the offense looks like right now. We'll see how it looks going forward. But I know both of you have had comments about Sean McDermott this season. How safe should Sean McDermott be right now, in your opinion?
I think he is safe. I don't think Pagula is going to dump him. There's a report came out either early this week or late last week saying that there's 0% chance they're getting rid of him after the season. And on one hand, I get it, from where we were for almost 20 years to consistently winning the division and a Super Bowl threat. But I've never been the biggest fan of him. Like, he lost me when he thought starting Nathan Peterman in a playoff race was a good idea. Like, after that, then I was critical of him, so I might just be looking at it as a pessimistic fan. But just like he's tried to like change with the times. Like, he's actually more aggressive than he gets credit for, letting the offense go for it on 4th downs and stuff. But even just like the Eagles game, at the end, he coaches to not lose, not to go win the game. He's like afraid to grab the game by the balls and go win it. And that just will always annoy me about him. Just like you got to act like the defense is the side of the ball that's crushed with injuries and is questionable, not the offense. You want Josh on the field at the end of the game. We'll stop them. Like with what was it, 3rd and 7, and they had 20-yard cushion. It's like, go win the game. You go win the game. And if they score, you're afraid of getting burned over the top and lose the game like that. You'd rather them just march in the field goal range and win that way. And that just the Broncos game. And it's just you got to know the team you got. Your defense is crushed with injuries. You can't coach like that. I don't know, but I wonder if it's like a scenario like the Warriors where Mark Jackson gets them so far and did a really good job and got us out of the toilet, but you need like the Steve Kerr to go win the thing. Maybe different. I mean, Diggs can come out and say like he's not pissed. I think he's mad I think it's mostly at McDermott for like, we got to the AFC Championship and we've been going backwards ever since. And it's like, how many times you just going to rerun it and expect different results? It's changing. It's going in the wrong direction, which isn't good to see. And guys are getting older. Hyde and Poyer are on their last leg, so you got to replace them. Who the hell knows what's going on with Vaughn? It's like you don't want to get that pessimistic and whiny because we've been good for the last handful of years, but it's almost like you can't just expect that to happen every year. You got to make sure it happens. And cap space isn't the most by any means, so it's just like it's gonna get tough. Like, is it mini rebuild time coming soon? And does that mean like how happy is Diggs gonna be with that? He's 30 now. It's just like that core. It's kind of that window's closing. I think as long as they have Josh, they're always going to be a legitimate team that could do something. But this core is closing, and you can hear the fan base getting sick of McDermott. It's just how long is that going to take to get to Pagula and make him feel like he needs to make that change?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think same thing. I read the report that 0% chance he's gone. I feel like it all comes down to how the second half of the season unfolds, I guess, in my opinion. If they can squeeze into the playoffs and make some noise, then I don't think he should have to worry about his job. But if we come out and we lose 4 out of 5 of these games or whatever it is, and we don't make the playoffs when the offense seemingly has something going right now, then I feel like he should, but I don't think that he has to worry about his job, which is definitely an issue, because I feel like it doesn't matter who you are or what your name is. You should always have to worry about your job. If you're coming out and not performing to the best of your ability, which the Bills are obviously not coming out and performing to the best of their ability, because we've seen their best. And now who knows? It's you've gotten like a taste of it. And we should have won that game in Philly very easily, in my opinion. I think we had one bad play, and that was the pick. And I don't even think that was that bad of a play. I think it was just good defense, because Allen put it right on Diggs, but the defender was just happened to be there. So I wasn't mad at Allen for that. I thought it was good play, but I think he's safe no matter what. The defense is banged up, so there's excuses for that. But I do think that overall, for whatever reason, in the second half of the game, like the defense plays good considering who's out there. In the second half of the game, they just like disappear. It doesn't make sense to me, because even in the Denver game, they looked awesome. Denver's average field position, I think, was on like the 50-yard line, and we just stopped them all game until the fourth quarter came. And then they just keep going down the field. I'm like, what the fuck happened to the defense, man? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, as far as McDermott's concerned, I think he's safe. I think it should matter what happens from this point on.
And then, like in that Eagles game too, right at the end, you got 20 seconds left and would have 2 timeouts.
Yeah, you got to go for the kill.
Does he not remember the Thanksgiving game against the Lions last year? Same scenario, one play, boom, field goal range. I know conditions are different, but it's like you
go for a pass interference or something. Yeah, you got the guy with the biggest arm in the NFL.
Exactly.
What do you got him for if you're going to take a knee?
Right, you're fighting for your playoff life. It's not time to sit back and be like, "Well, we'll settle for this. We'll settle for no. Go get it. Go get it."
I agree with the playing scared, playing not to lose. I think I said that on the last podcast, and I don't know if that's just a sentiment among Bills fans, but they definitely play not to lose.
Yep.
And it's not a good feeling when you got the guys you got out there, and they're capable. Like, we probably aren't going to get a Hail Mary pass to win the game, but you got the guy with the probably the biggest arm in the NFL. Take a shot. You might have 2 or 3 shots right there. Get a pass interference call. Do something, man. I don't know.
And I'm just sick. I'm
pissed
sick of the
about that.
games of the year that we always seem to play in, always us being on the losing end of it, or like these crazy finishes. It's like we keep finding a way to lose all these games, so something different needs to happen. Because that Vikings game last year, the Eagles game, 13 seconds,
Cardinals game.
Cardinals game, like,
dude, it's like Josh Allen's legacy is going to be just losing these
That's
like
what I
last
don't want.
heartbreaking games, dude.
Yeah, I know.
That's not on him either. Always, I mean,
No.
how many of those games has he performed as good as you could possibly perform, and the defense lets us down? And
Majority
McDermott's
of
a
them.
defensive head coach.
That's the part that burns me. It's like this is supposed to be your specialty, man. Like,
yep.
Seems like a common theme with these close games in the end. They just keep coming up short. Whether that's tied to McDermott not making adjustments, I think might have something to be doing. I mean, you guys keep talking about how good they look early in the game, and then how a team puts it on you in the second half. And I'm sorry, but that's coaching, because the other team's making adjustments. The other team is in the locker room making adjustments, and you're not. Like, and you lose a game late. That's part of it. And then, like you said, not hammering the nail. You know what I mean? In the end of a game, when you can try to end the game, and maybe it is like the defensive coach mindset where he's kind of just like playing it safe.
Bend, don't break, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Breaking.
I think there's a bunch of different factors that are going into this where they just continue to come up short in some of these games. But Tyler, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. We talked about it earlier when we were talking about playoff scenarios, and like the Bills are right there, right? They're right there on the edge of like whether they make it or not. They have a tough schedule down the stretch, but they have been playing better since they really got rid of the OC, and now Brady's calling it. They just seem, I don't know. They seem like they're meshing a little better, right? Yeah, on the offensive end. If they can get Cooks going, which we guys have talked about, like if they can get Cooks going the way that we think he can get going, it will elevate them to that next level. And I don't know if it's a thing with Bills running backs, right? Like Zach Moss and Singletary, they had at the same time. And now we're watching them.
Look at him now.
Moss. Exactly.
Even Singletary, dude. He looks good.
So, yeah, so it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like James Cook is very talented, and they have all these backs. Like, they haven't even played Leonard Fournette yet. Like, once they get him involved, who knows? Maybe it's time, though. I feel like it's time to bring him in.
Line.
Exactly. It starts now for them. They cannot lose again.
No, it's playoffs now.
Right. I think like Pat might have said it. They can probably afford one more loss, but like they can't have
hopefully,
that mindset, of course.
Preferably Dallas, because it's out of conference, because their conference record is
true. But I do like that game for the Bills because it's at home. In Dallas, Dallas doesn't play great on the road, and it's probably going to be a snowy game, which Dallas doesn't get to experience very often. So that could be one that favors the Bills.
I want to get to how you're feeling, how confident you are about your chances. But one question I have before that, you talk about that cap room, how there's just not much because you guys kind of blew your load with it. And it is what it is. That's what you do when you want to win a Super Bowl. You go all out for it. But talk to me about the expectations that you had when you signed Von Miller after he left us after winning a Super Bowl, and what his time in Buffalo has been like. Justin, go ahead.
I couldn't believe it, when it happened. I just popped on NFL Network when I was watching the free agency thing, and I was like, no way. Because the big free agents don't come like that to Buffalo unless it's Mario Williams and we pay him $100 million to do it, when it was tough to pay $100 million back then. But, I mean, obviously expectations went through the roof. You're coming off 13 seconds. You go get the guy that just helped win a Super Bowl. And you think like, well, shit, we're right there. This is just that little cherry on top, all we needed. And it was just looking that way all year. And then honestly, I feel like him going down in Detroit on Thanksgiving really took like wind out of the sails. Not an excuse for anything. Obviously, the offense wasn't using him anyway. So it's like not the reason, but just, I don't know. He kind of, I mean, Pat, he was on the Rams. He just seems like he gives the fans and the team hope that, like, yeah, we are that good. We're gonna win. We're that good. And it just he's still around, but it just really took the wind out of the sails, I think. And I definitely was more confident going into last year than I was this year. This offseason just felt weird. It just, I don't know, something just felt like off. Like, I don't know if it was the dig stuff, and then I don't know, had a weird feeling to it. And then week one, the Jets shit happens, and then you're just like, man, this is going to be a hell of a year. I got a feeling. But
Here we go again.
I think he's meant a lot. I mean, you can tell guys like he's got a lot of friends in the league. He wants to be a GM when he retires. So I think he's got a good relationship with guys. You think, oh, that'll help with free agency. Maybe he can talk guys to come in. And but I mean, now, I don't know what this arrest thing's going to bring. It sounds like they're planning to use him. He's going to practice tomorrow, but who knows what the league will do or what happens. So it's always fun to deal with. Thinking we got a nice quiet bye week, don't have to worry about shit, and then bing, Von
Surprise.
Miller.
Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely excited. I think my initial reaction was, how much do we pay him for how long? I was like, damn, this dude got like 2 years left, maybe. No, I was excited. I mean, definitely after the fact, more so like seeing the like recruiting power that he has, like seeing the players that are like, oh, Von Miller's playing there. He was kind of trying to recruit DeAndre Hopkins like before the season started, just trying to bring guys in, and I like that. I mean, especially a guy that just won a Super Bowl. He's been productive 2 different teams now. So, and I mean, prior to the injury, he was playing well for us too. He was definitely making some noise. And yeah, I don't know. I think I said last time on the podcast that I didn't feel good about last season. Like I already I don't know. I felt like I said, the 13-second game to me was our best chance at that moment in time. I didn't feel good last year. After week 4 or 5, like I forget who it was we lost to, but like the offense, like we were winning like I said, we were winning games from, I think, Thanksgiving on. We didn't lose until the Cincinnati playoff game, but like in none of those games, I thought, did we look convincing? We weren't blowing teams out. We were beating them by like field goals or 1-score games or whatever. I didn't feel like the offense was, they were like elite, like they were the year before, where they're just touchdowns back and forth with Kansas City in the playoff game. It didn't feel the same to me. And this season, I kind of felt the same way. But I feel like that a lot of that was the Dorsey stuff. I don't know. Some games he comes out and the play calls look awesome, and then the next game they come out and you're like, who the fuck's calling these plays? Like, I don't know. It was so hit or miss. Like the Bills are like, they do this thing. It just feels like it's in the script. Like they play down to the level of their opponent, or they play up to the level of their opponent. And it's like, they'll be the best team in football, and then they'll come out and they'll lose to the worst team in football. And it's like, that's not a good feeling. But I did say prior to this season, I did say, because I'm a barber and I was cutting hair, I was telling everybody, I was like, listen, I would rather play just okay in the regular season and squeak into the playoffs, because I'm sick of going 13-3 and then getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs now. I'd rather get into the playoffs with 10, 11 wins and then make some noise, because I'm sick of them. Like, it's not easy sailing, but like they definitely, I don't know, they don't face a ton of adversity in the last year, like where there's 3 losses, and then they get to Cincinnati and they get bounced. Like right now they're facing adversity, like probably the most Josh has faced in his career, and the team too. But I mean, if you can overcome this and you can manage to just get into the playoffs, nobody wants to play the Bills right now, man. I don't care like what they look like, what the defenses look like. Nobody right now is like, we got the Bills on the schedule. This is going to be an easy game. Nobody. So that's how I feel right now.
Yeah, to touch on the Von Miller stuff, I'm glad you brought up the arrest, because I didn't want to just like talk about Von Miller, the football player, because there is some issues going on right now, which is very unfortunate to hear and surprising to hear. about Von Miller and what I thought of him as just a dude. But talking about Von Miller, when he did sign there, I was heartbroken, man. I know I was heartbroken. Aaron Donald was even more heartbroken than I was because he was pitching for that dude to come back and run it back. And I know it tore him to pieces to leave us, but he saw that opportunity in Buffalo. And that's something I respect about Von too, is he wanted to do it somewhere where it's never been done. Like he wanted to be like the face of that and bring that to Buffalo. And out of that, I can respect. And it sucked. It has sucked to see him banged up these last couple of years. He is getting older, but I'd love to see him out there and healthy for them to see, what kind of damage they could do. But that's a great point.
Leonard Floyd.
Shout out
Oh,
Leonard
dude.
Floyd, man. He's a beast.
Oh my God. Yeah. Another guy you took from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leonard Floyd, dude.
We're
Every time I watch the Bills, he's out there doing something. It's like
lucky
they're
we got
deep
him
too.
right now.
They got some depth and on edge. If Von can be healthy, like
Yeah.
that could be a real problem. They have, and if you get a lead in games, that's big, having those pass rushers. But as you said, they play up to their competition and then they play down to their competition. And it's interesting to hear you say, like, there hasn't been any adversity that they've had to face these last couple of years with just kind of running away with the division. But it's like now you got Miami doing what they're doing. So the division's not a given, and you're going to have to fight just to get into the playoffs. Like, this is the most adversity Josh has faced. So we're really going to see, what he's made of and what this team is made of going into these last few weeks. But speaking of these last few weeks, I want to hear how confident you guys are in their chances. Like I said earlier in the show, I think the Bills do get in. I think they get in by winning 4 of the next 5. I think they find a way to win 4. And part of that is because I really like them to win this week in Kansas City. I do. But Justin, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 seasons we've beaten them in Arrowhead, so they're our playoff kryptonite still, along with the Bengals. But I agree, and they don't look as crisp as they normally do. Kind of wish maybe they won last week so they wouldn't be so pissed and motivated coming into this game. But I'll take what I can get. So I mean, it's obviously, but I think it comes down to this week. I think if they can win, and even I don't want to say comfortably because it's Mahomes and good luck ever running away with a game, but if they can just like come out and punch them in the face quick and kind of feel and look confident and dominant all game, I think a run's not out of the realm of possibility whatsoever. They did it a couple of years ago. They were 7-6 and then ripped off a bunch. Josh had the perfect playoff game against New England, and then 13 seconds happened. So I'm confident in Josh 100%. I think when the big moment comes up, he usually rises to the occasion. It's just going to come down to your banged up defenses playing a couple really good quarterbacks here, especially these next 2 weeks. So if you can bend and not break, as McDermott likes to always say, then I mean, obviously, oh my God, I'm but I think I'm trying to stay as confident as I can. I'm trying not to think about like the Patriots and the Jets and the Broncos game. I'm trying to still remember that Dolphins game a lot and hoping that monster's been awoken. But I'd say I'm at like 75% optimism for the playoffs.
Before you go, Sean, I forgot to mention, this is what I was trying to remember. To your point earlier, when you said like the Bills get in as a 7 seed, nobody wants to see that team in the playoffs. And we had a Miami Dolphin fan on this podcast for Questions with a Fan, Miami Dolphins, and I asked him about, same kind of question. What are you thinking going ahead in the season? And he spent the whole time we were talking. It was very, very confident conversation from him and the Dolphins, as it should be. But he said, "Dude, I don't want to play. I don't want to play the Bills in the playoffs. I do not want to see that team in the playoffs. Bad matchup for them." And we heard it on this podcast. They don't want to see Buffalo. But go ahead.
Buffalo's Miami's daddy, dude. That's right now. I mean, especially with the way the offenses look the past 2 weeks, man. That's where the confidence is coming from. If you would have talked to me 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't have script was flipped completely, dude. I was ready for the season to be over. bring on the draft or whatever. But no, I mean, just yeah, it seems right now, it seems like things are good. Obviously, the loss to Philly sucked, but it was demoralizing just because we looked so good in the game. It wasn't like they played bad and they got beat. I feel like the defense obviously let you down, but I mean, the offense did what they were supposed to do. Allen drove down the field. They get us in position. We score, take the lead, and yeah, I mean, when you're on that drive, you want to waste as much time as you can, because that's like, as a Bills fan now, like you're like any amount of time on the clock is terrifying, and same thing every year in, year out, man. But yeah, I'm like torn. It's going to depend. It's going to really depend on the defense. I'm confident in the offense for sure. I think the offense is going to come out and do what they're supposed to do. We could run the table. I mean, the Cowboys, they make me nervous, but then I just think about the Thanksgiving game we played a couple years ago, last game they played, and same thing. Like when we play teams like that, granted, I think the OC at the time was Dable, but like when they play games like that, big teams like that, like they come out and they play up to the level of their opponent. They come out and they look awesome. So I'm hoping the same thing will be happening with Brady. They're going to be coming out running some crazy plays, or just something that works. It's going to come down to the defense for what we do as far as making the playoffs. I think we do make the playoffs. Just it's just going to come down to the defense. That's where I stand.
And if we make it, hopefully we play Miami or Jacksonville, so it's like nice weather. So we're not very good in the snow and the cold. Apparently,
that's the thing. It's like you don't even have a home field advantage at your stadium. Like when the, when the
at least we're not
tough.
building a new stadium. Couldn't have made it a dome or anything, you know.
Right.
At least that's not going on.
Just make a retractable roof or something.
And then you could pay for it by like using it for concerts and stuff all year round. You can make
anything. It's the life of a
Tyler,
Bills
what are your
fan.
thoughts?
To me, it's going to come down to, I think, them and the Colts, because I don't have a ton of confidence in Gardner Minshew, but like Steichen, you know, he's finding a way to get that team to win. So, but that's, the Bills are more talented. I mean, if we're talking roster to roster, like out of all the playoff teams or the wild card teams, like it's Buffalo. They have that most complete overall roster. Josh has been playing Josh football. You know, the offense is starting to mesh a little bit better. So to your guys' point, like, yeah, it's going to come down to that defense. And I think Von Miller, like, who knows what's going to happen. But if he gets past this incident and he can stay healthy and he can get back to being like even a shell of what he was a couple years ago, that would be huge for that D line.
He is a shell right now. That's all he is a shell.
So
there's a fucking body out there.
Yeah, so I think it just comes down to that. Like Douglas, he's came in and he's played really well.
Yeah,
it's just tough because you know those safeties are, you can see
slow.
Like the age is catching up to them. They're slow, so some of these teams are gonna try to take advantage of that, and they probably will be able to. But if the Bills can get that pass rush right, if Von Miller can get on the same page as Russo, because I like Russo a lot, and then someone up the middle at Oliver. Or I know Linval Joseph, and Joseph
Jordan
is more of a run stopper. Yeah, Jordan Phillips, like
Pat's favorite guy. Loves Jordan Phillips, dude.
Yeah, Jordan Phillips is a heel. But
you know what? I don't hate Jordan Phillips.
You love him if he's on your team.
Yeah, I mean, like, what, the year before he went to Arizona, that dude was a fucking dog for us.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Arizona, then he comes back, and you gotta love a guy that's gritty for your team. I understand hating him, but
he's our Eric Devendorf.
Yeah.
Devendorf, dude. You know what's funny? I actually saw Devendorf at the York in Syracuse last year. Yeah, they had some weird, I don't want to say weird. They had a thing of like former Syracuse, a couple former players and coaches, and they got together and rented out this little section, and we were next to him. But yeah, I saw Devendorf there. He just looked high out of his mind like usual.
Yeah.
So
ask him if he wants to go play, if he wants to run with us on Wednesday nights.
Yeah. Speaking of, we should be getting back to that soon. I'll text you and let you know what I hear. But Yeah, either way though, Bills playoff percent. It's going to come down to them or the Colts. These next 2 weeks though, if the Bills can win these next two, then I will feel a lot better saying that they're going to be in. If they go 1-1, I'm probably still going to be on the Colts to edge them out, but they have the chance though. Like they can do it. They can get it done. Big game this
the
week.
Colts got easy game, and like I don't want to say easy because Cincy just won, but I'm pretty sure they got fucking Jake Browning and Cincy this week. So
that's the annoying part is like you see all these backup QBs and stuff that are like fighting with us to get that spot, and it's like you just can't have the loss to the Jets, you can't have the loss to the Patriots, you can't lose to the Broncos, right? And it's the boogeyman Joe Burrow is not even going to be there. Like the path is paved, and you're just
Chiefs don't look great.
Exactly. Nope. This is the year.
You own the Dolphins.
Yep. But
that's the thing. I'm saying if we fire fucking Dorsey 2-3 weeks earlier, we might be 2-3 wins more. It just seemed late.
Or if McDermott doesn't call back-to-back all-out blitzes against Denver, and
or if they don't have 12 men on the field.
Yeah, it's a lot of what ifs.
Yeah.
What if the Bills win the Super Bowl?
But hey, they can still get it. They can still get it.
What if?
Yeah.
What if?
I'm putting the bet in. I'm putting the bet in tonight for them to get in the playoffs. You guys put me in the spirit.
I hope you're right.
But
shit, me too.
Gentlemen, want to appreciate you coming on with us tonight. Talk some Buffalo Bills. Yeah. Hopefully they do get in the playoffs, and we can have you both on again to talk some playoff football with the Bills. But boys, thank you again. Have a great night.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night, boys.
Appreciate you guys.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Yes, sir.
We want to thank Justin and Sean for hopping on with us. Once again, boys, appreciate you. Talk some Buffalo Bills. Hope to have them on if they can find a way to go on a run here at the end of the season. So want to thank everybody for listening to this episode of the New Score podcast. We will be back in a couple days to go over our Week 14 NFL preview. We will also have questions with a fan. Towers Dallas Cowboys. Questions with a fan. We will have another guest as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Appreciate y'all for listening. We'll see you in a couple days. Goodbye.
Peace.